You are the chosen one! Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness!
Welcome to the VR Cauldron. I'm Al, and I imagine I'll get a lot of dislikes for this, especially from those who don't watch it. So if this video helps or entertains at all, then please leave a like at the end and don't forget to subscribe. If you do disagree with what I say, let me know in the comments, but make sure you actually watch the video before disagreeing. Disclaimer, this is not a pro Facebook video. I am a supporter of Oculus since I love VR and I love what they have been able to do for it. I'm not a supporter of Facebook, but I'm not totally against them either. They have allowed VR to be sold at a price that my wife can get on board with, and they're helping to get VR to the masses. I'm aware of all the negative aspects of Facebook involving privacy, and a quick Google can reveal all those things. I realise I'm coming at this from a positive angle, but that doesn't mean there is no negative. I highly recommend watching the last podcast from the F Reality crew, and more specifically Kent Bye's views on privacy that are hard to ignore. I'll link that in the description. So let's have some healthy discussion and keep it friendly. Remember, we all want the same thing. Also, the giveaway from the Return to Castle Wolfenstein video will end on my next video, so you should still have time to enter, providing you're not watching this on Dave. Links are in the description. So, anyone watching this probably already heard the big news about Facebook and Oculus, but if you didn't, then very quickly. Facebook announced that last week that from October, any new Oculus Rift S or Quest users will need to log into their devices using a Facebook account. Any new devices from Oculus will require a Facebook account, and from January 2023, Oculus accounts will die and everyone will have to use a Facebook account. They did say that if you choose not to merge your accounts at that time, you can continue using your device, but full functionality will require a Facebook account. We will take steps to allow you to keep using content you have purchased, though we expect some games and apps may no longer work. This could be because they include features that require a Facebook account, or because the developer has chosen to no longer support the app or game you purchased. Now obviously, some people weren't very happy about this. Here are just a few of the comments I got on the video I posted. Not giving Oculus another penny, just buying from SideQuest and completing what I have. Hopefully that will keep me going until the Quest has some competition. It's like a huge breach of trust from a large portion of their user base, me included. In the future, I'll just buy something from Valve, HTC or HP.
They pretty much guaranteed that I'll never buy an Oculus.
Personally, I'm not too bothered about the change. I have a load of Facebook pages starting from when I was a failed music YouTuber through becoming a failed gaming YouTuber. If I can jump off this, I'm done.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
A failed writer and a failed guitar decal maker.
But like my Murphys, I'm not bitter.
Here I am as a VR YouTuber, and here I am with another Facebook page. So I've been on Facebook for a long time by now, and my Oculus account has been linked with Facebook for a while too. So this video is only here to help you put your mind at ease, not to support Facebook, simply to support you. So reason number one not to worry about Facebook is firstly that it's 2 years and 4 months away before you've got to have the account, assuming you already have a headset. Remember, you don't have to make the switch before then, and you'll still be able to use your device and games afterwards unless devs decide to implement Facebook social features into their games. They say you won't have full functionality if you don't use Facebook. Well, guess what? You don't have full functionality right now if you don't use Facebook. You can't stream to Facebook, and you don't have various other social features. And if enough people continue to push against Facebook, then the devs won't want to suddenly stop supporting people that aren't using it either. The second reason, mainly for people who are using a Rift or a Rift S, is will you still be using that Rift or Rift S in 2 years and 4 months? Well, we might be able to work that out using the Rift S's daddy, the Rift CV1, which is about 4 years old now. As of August 2020, about 14% of Steam VR users are using a CV1, which is the Rift before the Rift S. In 2 years and 4 months, the Rift S will just be over 3.5 years old. The Rift S is currently at around 25 to 30% of all Steam users, going by that terrible graphic that's hard to read. But considering the Rift S launched with greater competition than the CV1, and with more competition arriving with much better performance, I very much doubt that 14% of users will have a Rift S in 2023. I'd guess something like 4%. Take into account the number of VR users are growing all the time. Half of them can't even use the Rift S due to the restricted IPD, and with the imminent arrival of the HP Reverb G2, a lot of people are going to be going for that. And yes, I did pull that number out my ass, but I've always been good with number ass pulling.
Jesus Christ.
So in terms of probability alone, it probably won't affect you. And if you still have a Rift S by then, with all the advances that are happening in VR, well, you probably won't be playing all the newer stuff anyway, and you'll still be able to play the games you're buying now. Reason number 3 is for Quest users. The Quest is amazing. I only bought one a few months ago to sit with my Rift S, but even when it first released, it was looking underpowered. In a few weeks, we're expecting an announcement about a Quest 2, and obviously see what you think of it. But by 2023, there is bound to be a Quest competitor made by a different company. The Quest has been insanely popular, so any manufacturers who want to get into VR will see that mobile VR, possibly with the ability to also do PC VR like the Quest can, is a very good idea indeed. There's already been talk of Sony wanting to make their own standalone headset, and trust me, they won't be the only people working on one right now. So why is this good for current Quest users? Well, you'll probably want a new headset in 2 years. If you're dead against the Facebook account, then go for one of the competitors. But how about that huge Oculus game library? Well, let's face it, the library of Quest games isn't exactly huge, and the number of them you'll want to play in 2 years will be even smaller. Still, it's absolutely fair to suggest that even if you wanted to play just one of your current games in 2 years, then you absolutely should be able to. Well, let's look at PC VR for a second. There are plenty of ex-Oculus users migrating over to the Valve Index. They can't play their old Oculus games anymore, right? Wrong. Because of a program called Revive, anyone can play Oculus exclusives on any capable PC VR headset. Yes, there are a few issues here and there, but in the main, it works very well. There are so many clever people out there that hear this news and they know there'll be an audience waiting for a program just like this. Yes, it may be harder to do on mobile VR platforms, but it won't be impossible. And there's so many undiscovered geniuses out there. Just look at what VR Desktop can do with wireless VR on the Quest. And remember, Oculus don't support this function, but through a patch on SideQuest, we get to use it anyway. Point 4 is that it might not even happen. From an article over at Forbes, Jake Moore, cybersecurity specialist at ESET, says the whole thing is a blatant way to gain user connection information, and that it's rather unusual to only offer one option when signing up. But Moore also said that it's quite possible Facebook might do a 180, considering the backlash. He said it is likely that it will only work if Oculus's user base doesn't reject the decision to hand over their Facebook details. Therefore, there's a distinct possibility that this move may not ever come to fruition. Personally, I could see them backtracking and saying, we have listened to the community, and not making it compulsory. However, I could also see them adding so many Facebook features that makes you feel like you're really missing out if you don't sign up, especially if Horizon turns out to be like the Oasis. But a counter-argument to this does come in the form of the upcoming Quest 2. I don't want to make this into a Quest 2 video, but if my suspicions are correct that it will be a more powerful headset that costs less to build, I imagine the bigwigs over there have done their maths and worked out exactly how many people they'll lose compared to how many people they'll gain. They really want to push VR into the social realm, and that means they need headsets on people's faces. They can earn an armada of boatloads of cash from advertising this way, which means they can push the price of the headset even lower than it is now and still make a ton of money. So yeah, we do have that going against us, and also this backlash might not even be as big as it seems. We all know that negative voices are louder than positive ones. People are much more likely to leave a review after a negative experience than after a positive one. From all the comments I've read, it would seem like about 75% of people are against the Facebook news. However, the people that don't care more than likely didn't even bother posting anything. But back on the plus side, this social VR push is going to make things cheaper for the consumer and bring VR to an even bigger market, meaning it'll be easier for devs to make money, which means we'll get more AAA titles and better games due to increased competition. Point number 5 is you already have a Facebook account. I'm sorry, but if you have an Oculus account, then you already have a Facebook account. At least you have an account owned by Facebook. Some people were worried about them having your payment details. Well, that's not really the big issue here, but they do have it anyway through Oculus. They also know what games you like to play, who your Oculus friends are, and when eye tracking comes along, they'll know what you're looking at. Do you think they won't be able to do this just because your account has a black and white logo and says Oculus? And even if they can't, due to the current terms of service, all it takes is a little tweak and then the terms and conditions change, no one ever reads it, and then they'll be able to do it.
By clicking agree, you are also acknowledging that Apple may sew your mouth to the butthole of another iTunes user.
So really, you might as well get a Facebook account and just treat it exactly like your Oculus account. Are you worried about your name being shown? Well, it's not going to be, and Oculus know your name anyway. Who do you think you are, Morpheus?
He's beginning to believe.
If you want, you could use your first name and some other name that isn't yours. Hundreds of thousands of people do this, teachers do this, so they can't be searched on Facebook. I could be Alex Witchy McWitchface. They aren't going to ban me. Add a few VR friends if you want, or a couple of mates, then don't use it for social purposes. Too many people think they're living off the grid, apart from, you know, your Twitter, Instagram, Oculus, Steam, Pinterest and YouTube accounts, but Facebook, that's scary. With the Oculus account, Facebook can still see your favourite games and suggest things to your friends. I keep getting updates about how good my friend is at Beat Saber, and that's through the Oculus account. He's not very good, by the way.
You talking to me?
I'm only joking, Tim. I think it's more annoying for people who already have a Facebook account, and I'm guessing the vast majority of them don't really care, since the profiles will remain separate anyway. At least we won't be getting, Alex, have you been visiting the VR strip club again? People are worried that they're going to get banned on Facebook, then lose all their games. But what are you about to start doing? You hate Facebook that much, but when you're forced to log in, you'll start posting stuff that may or may not be hate speech. The guidelines are so vague when I'm not sure if my post is hate speech. Whatever happened to is having an omelette? Point 6 is that if you hate Facebook that much, then this really doesn't affect you. I.e., if you hate Facebook so much, why the bloody hell have you got a Facebook device? Unless you're playing Half-Life Alyx on your DK1, you've given your money to Facebook and signed up with a Facebook Oculus account. Facebook have owned Oculus ever since they've had 6 Degrees of Freedom back with the DK2.
We will watch your career with great interest.
If you own a Rift or a Quest, then you don't dislike them enough not to buy their products and not log into their account. It's like saying you hate Toyota, but you drive around in your Lexus. Think about a vegetarian who loves animals. They don't eat meat because they're against the killing of animals, despite the fact that A, they often have to pay more to only have non-meat products, and B, many of them love the taste of meat, but guess what? They don't eat it anyway. If you really hate Facebook, then you don't own a Rift or a Quest. You opted out back in 2014, you took the time to save a little more and buy a Vive despite the benefits and cheaper price of the Rift, in which case it doesn't affect you at all. How many vegetarians eat meat because it's cheaper? Right, well that got a bit ranty, but it was purely for entertainment purposes. But like I've said to people before, I totally understand your reservations about this news. And they absolutely did break a promise made via Palmer Luckey when he said, I guarantee that you won't need to log into your Facebook account every time you want to use the Oculus Rift. Well, this was a very clever use of words. Whether it was meant to be at the time, I very much doubt. I do believe that Palmer was being sincere when he said it, and he has since said that at that time, that promise was backed by Facebook. But then again, maybe he was tricked, since A, it's very unlikely that people will be using a Rift when this happens, since I personally believe that the Rift S will be the last headset we see from Oculus with that name. Side note, most of the headsets in Ready Player One, standalone. And B, I don't log into Oculus or any other network when I want to use any of my devices. Why? Because I'm already logged in, so we don't have to log in over and over again whenever we want to use it. So clever wording, not that it matters, they will do whatever is legal, and brings in the most money. So here endeth the video. Well done to anyone who made it this far. Mention bananas in your comment to let me know how awesome you are. If you somehow got here but have no idea what I was on about, well, the TLDW is that yes, Facebook are gits that have broken a promise, but don't worry, you'll be just fine. Hopefully. So please click that like button if you found that interesting, and subscribe if you want more. I've been Al. Thank you so much for watching the VR Cauldron. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you next time. See ya.
Am I under your protection spell? Just don't hang